She's finally gonna bloom. This peony didn't bloom. None of them did, but they were transplanted here last year, so I didn't expect them to. There's a bird in the bush. Hi. I hear that's worth 2 in the hand. Yeah, I did do that. Okay, I'll let you be. My asparagus bush for the first time put out some seed pods. I think they turned red, but I don't know because it's the first time. It's also putting out a second little push. Some little asparagus spears here. Is it supposed to do that? Somebody who knows more about this than me, tell me. His poor little thing. This side just doesn't get nearly as much light, as you can tell. But they're putting out a good effort. I keep threatening that I'm going to trim this lilac back because it's casting the shade. And these poor little guys. Jungle. Found some little red scarlet runner buds, but I don't see any now. Look, this is a variety of sunflowers called Autumn Beauty. So you can see some of them are going to have just a ton of flower heads. I'm so excited. So excited. We had a hailstorm the other day. Some of this stuff got beat up, but not too bad considering we've had near softball size hail before. It was nothing like that. It was a little pea-sized hail. It didn't last long, so very thankful that it wasn't worse. Like, it's probably about some of the worst damage we got, honestly, so not even sad about it. My garden's still standing. And we live in Alberta. Hail happens a lot, so. Getting ready. Little potato blossom. I just harvested, so this is one calendula plant. All that. And I harvested 14 blossoms off of it when I picked calendula the other day. Off of that one plant. Let's go crazy. So I think what happened in this bed is because the side is kind of slanted. And this was one of the few beds that I actually planted seeds. And because they're beets, carrots, and parsley, they're pretty small seeds. Like the other stuff that I seeded was my beans. So like beans are substantially larger than a carrot seed or a beet seed. So I think what happened is I can see that I got pretty good germination more towards the center, but then terrible germination towards the edge. I'm wondering if my seeds didn't wash away. I think I'm going to replant though. I think I have enough time to replant some beets here because I want Oh, I want a ridiculous amount of beets. I love beets so much. And then the same kind of thing, like the parsnips, took a long time to germinate, and I should have remembered that from last year. And I think what I should have done is done the carrots on this north side of the bed, and then the beets, and then the parsnips, so that the parsnips weren't getting shaded out by the carrots like they are now. But I don't know, we'll see. I'll probably get some parsnips, but I think what I'm going to do, because parsnips take so much longer to grow, I'm going to come in here and reseed some beets too, because you can kind of see, like, where's my finger, along this edge, that there wasn't the germination, kind of similar to the beets on the other side. So I think, again, maybe they just washed out because we've had so much rain and it's on a slant. I don't know. It's my first year doing this. And I just learned, thank you, Thistle Hill Farms, that in Lacombe they have wood chips at their recycling center. So I've been contacting all of these arborists and stuff, trying to get some loads of wood chips to put in these ugly pathways. And they're sitting waiting for me at the recycling depot. So someday soon, these pathways are going to be wood chips, and it's going to look so nice. And then I'm hoping too that it won't be like such a little slope, because there'll be chips in the middle that are about the same height. So that should hopefully help with that. I don't know how I've never noticed big piles of wood chips when I've been over there, but I haven't. So I'm so thankful to have friends that know more than me. Look at these onions, you guys. Like, it's a beast. Starting to bulb up there. Look at that leek. Holy. Holy guacamole. It's fatty. I still haven't given them a haircut. I've just threatened. It's kind of my style. Does anybody else get to July and just get, like, I don't even know what to call it. It's like this anxiety that summer's only gonna last for 5 minutes, and it like paralyzes me. There's like such a short window of time to get things done in, and then I just stress about how short that window is, and it seriously, like, the anxiety makes it where I just sit around and think about what I have to do rather than doing it, and it makes no sense, and it's so frustrating. But does that happen to anybody else, where you get to this point of the year and you know that there's just so much to push through, but you just lose steam? You just end up coming out and standing in the garden and hanging out with it instead of actually doing the work that needs to be done. Or is that just me? Maybe it's just me. My little frog. And look, I don't know if that pollinated or not. I don't know how to grow eggplants because this is my first year, so looks like it might have pollinated. It doesn't feel like it's gonna fall off, so here comes another one. The nights have been kind of cold. I'm worried about these guys because they're too big for their little milk jug cloches now. So now it's just hanging out on the chickweed, but chickweed needs to stay warm too. This oregano has been teasing me for the last couple weeks. It has looked like these buds are about ready to open, but they haven't. Can't wait to see what they look like. And the thyme plant, planted last season from seed, has some blooms. They're so pretty. I have had like hardly any bees in my yard, you guys. And I don't know if it's from... So I live really close to the high school in town, like a few blocks away. And they have honeybee hives usually. And so usually I have a ton of honeybees in my yard. And I'm wondering if maybe the bees have been moved because of COVID and there aren't actually students at the school right now to look after them, or if maybe their hive didn't make it through the winter and they haven't replaced it because the program's not ongoing because, again, there's not students at school right now. But yeah, there's definitely been a noticeably smaller amount of bees around. And all wild bees, no honeybees, which I mean isn't a bad thing, but when you're seeing like, I don't know, I want to say like 10% of the bees I'm used to seeing, I don't think that's a good thing. My peas along the fence are flowering. My tomatoes are just working overtime. My little blossom bags have, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Careful, but there's a little tomato growing in there. Look at the size of some of these blossoms. My goodness. This is Berkeley's pink tie-dye. I am so excited to meet this tomato. So I would say that the nasturtiums over here took the worst beating out of the storm. There's my Berkeley pink tie-dye blooms. I'm waiting to save seeds off the fruit. Some more of these fuzzy peach tomatoes. Look at it. Look it. There's a little baby tomato in there. There's probably another one in here. What do you think? Oh, look at him. Oh, look at that guy. Goodness. So excited. So these are the, what were they called? Orange peach tomatoes. So they're an orange skinned tomato with a fuzzy skin like a peach. How weird is that? I'm so excited. I had a little, I think it was a cabbage looper caterpillar on my basil this week. And I took them and put them in my compost pile because I have some Brussels sprouts over there that didn't fit in the garden. 6 of them. Might be a little excessive. But to be fair, I started about the same amount extra of everything else this year. Like I started twice as many peppers as I needed, and I killed most of them. So, like, you never know. And I mean, those Brussels sprouts, it doesn't hurt anything to have them hang out in a compost pile. They'll be food for the cabbage loopers and a place for the cabbage moths to reproduce. That won't bother me, so I think that's a win. I love their little curly vines, their little arms that they grab onto stuff with. Look like out of a fairy tale. I was shit talking the bees, and now here they are. Hello, friend. I don't know if you could hear him. He was buzzing around. Couldn't see him. So these little tiny pathetic nasturtiums. Oh man, they're just little. But it's putting out a bloom. Now, these are my Chadwick cherry tomatoes. And these were the guys that stole the show last year with production. Like, they just crank out the flower trusses once they get going. Well, the sun was behind a cloud. It was all gloomy, overcast when I got out here. I feel like what's the theme of the week is like, guess the weather, because it's not gonna stay what it is right now. Like, Yesterday, I swear, every time I went to come outside to do something, it was storming. And then every time I decided on something to do in the house, the sun would come out. It was very frustrating. So then I'd finish what I was doing in the house, decide to come outside, it would be storming again. Well, at least we didn't get any hail yesterday. Hey, little babies. So this is it should be an early girl tomato. I saved the seeds from a tomato that my Nana grew last year and gave me. So I saved seeds and I got this plant from them and that plant from them. But looking at them, I don't know. That looks like it might just be kind of a leaf curl. What's going on with you, little baby? But the leaves, yeah, that's weird. They're like a little harder on the edges. It almost looks like pesticide damage or something. What's happening to you, baby? But anyways, so if you look at these leaves, I feel like they might look a little different. So even though they came from the same tomato, if it had been crossed with something, these won't be early fall tomatoes. So, totally just an experiment, totally just for fun. And we're gonna find out what these tomatoes are. Maybe they're early falls. But regardless, they came from a tomato from my Nana, and I'm gonna keep them. So I think what I'm gonna do is pause this. Literally as I say that. I'm gonna pause this till the sun goes back behind the cloud, and then it kind of like going behind the cloud as I was saying it. So let's keep looking at tomatoes. Psych. And so that is a tomato Manitoba. This whole little truss is coming with little tomatoes on there. And this little truss. And this one is also, I would say that this one has been my best producing variety for the last couple of years now. It always produces first. Like, I always get my first tomato. Like, I think I'm gonna get this even before I have cherry tomatoes ripe. That's how early this plant is. And it just cranks them out. Like, this is just, you know, you can't really tell because of the sun shining on this plant, but it is like absolutely loaded with blossoms, and a lot of them are open, and a lot of them have already started to set fruit, where like my canning tomatoes are just opening blossoms. So but this one, my tomato Manitoba, I had wanted 3 because it is such a good producer. This is the only one I have. I had planted, God, it's so sunny. I had planted 2 more here, but the ants chewed them down, like decapitated them. So these are actually Roma tomatoes here in the front now. And they were planted, I don't know, probably like 2 or 3 weeks after these ones. And so they're just starting to put out their blossoms. I've pulled a couple of little buds off of these plants to let them establish a bit more, but now I'm going to let them go. And the same thing happened in my front box to my black crim tomatoes. But, so they decapitated the black crim that was in the center of this box. So I've replaced it with some sunflower and some cucumbers, hanging out in there. Which I don't know if they're going to do anything. They were planted late, but I just didn't want the space to be empty. There was also a blackcurrant here, so this is also now a Roma tomato, and this one looks a little bit ahead of the other one. That's going to have some big tomatoes, it looks like. And they ate my nasturtium. They ate like 3 basil out of that spot. Like I'm so sick of them. I hate them. I replanted this basil, I replanted this tomato, and I replanted this nasturtium from seed because I ran out of seedlings because they kept mowing them down in these corners. So tired of it. If somebody has a way to get rid of ants that's poison free, please tell me. Because I hate them. At least the ones in this box and the other box. Like, I'm happy to coexist. I have ants in every single box. And in my garden beds. I have ants everywhere. We live on so much sand. But when they start chewing down my tomatoes, we're not friends anymore. Oh, jeez. I was trying to move this branch and I broke it. Whoops. But I'm going to show you. So, the tomato that was in the corner where I put my Roma, I dug it up because I didn't want to see that they were chewing on it. And I moved it and I thought that it died. Look it. It's growing. It has a new leaf. Look how cute it is. Like, I don't think that I'm going to get any tomatoes off this, but who knows? And who cares? That's pretty cool. A little survivor. My little blackcurrant made it. So this is the only surviving blackcurrant plant. This is my 3rd year, I think, trying to grow this variety. I'm sorry if you've heard me yatter on about this, but I have some feelings about it, okay? I've tried for 3 years, and I've never harvested a blackcurrant yet. Now, I am going to see what this tomato is all about. If it kills me. Oh my god, you guys. Oh no, it's just a blossom that hasn't opened yet. I thought it had a flower in it, or a fruit growing, but not quite yet. But it has flowers open. I might actually get blackcurrant fruit. I'm so excited. And they look like they're gonna be a fair-sized tomato. Those are pretty big flower buds. But yeah, this whole box, it was supposed to be all black tomatoes. There was supposed to be 5 black tomato varieties. These ones are called Tim's Black Ruffle. Let's take a peek here. Yeah, so like here's a little bit of hail damage. But really not too bad. Like, this poor nasturtium is sad, but... And this one, I don't know if you can even see this because it's so sunny. But yeah, she was looking a lot prettier at the beginning of the week. She's a little sad now, but I'm sure in a couple of weeks you probably won't even be able to tell. But anyways, this Tim's Black Ruffle. These ones have been putting out a lot of fasciated blossoms. I'm going to try and show you here, but it's such a bushy plant. Like, I don't know, can you see that? It's huge. Let's see. It's going to be a big weird tomato. I've pulled a lot of them off, but curiosity just gets the better of me sometimes, and I want to see what they're going to look like. And I think this year I should have lots of tomatoes, so I hope I don't regret that. Sorry, I've had a little bit of allergies. Oh, friend. There's a little bee. Thank you for pollinating my cucumbers. Sweet little thing. Alright, I'll leave her alone. Oh, I got one I gotta pollinate here. So this is my first year I've ever started cucumbers inside. You know, like, you just can't see anything. I'm gonna pause this and come back and film some more because it's just too bright. It's just too bright. I'm gonna go enjoy the sunshine. But thanks for hanging out with me. Maybe I'll be back later. We'll see. Bye.